Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another collaboration episode of Let's Talk Pucks, Puck It, Spitball and Sports, the NHL edition. I'm your host, Jim Biringer. I usually roll alongside John Restaino, but we got a special guest today, Bill Aikins. You can find him Let's Talk Sports, Puck It Thursdays. Guys, check out the show. I've been on it. It's a great show. These guys, John and Bill, do an excellent job. But we figured with the big news of the day, we get the trio here talking hockey for you on a Sunday fun day before everything really takes off for football. Let's squeeze this in, get you ready before Thursday. Guys, first of all, Bill, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure being on your show. John, always a pleasure seeing you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, man.
Yep, happy to be here, Jim.
I figured it was great to have Bill on because he's a Pittsburgh guy.
Yep.
I know his perspective on the goaltending, which we'll get to later on. But the big news of the day, ladies and gentlemen, if you live under a rock, you're out on the beach, on the lake, don't know what you're doing. The Pittsburgh Penguins acquired Erik Karlsson from the San Jose Sharks, three-team trade. Pittsburgh gets Karlsson, Pitlick comes from Montreal. They get Dylan Hamiluk and a third-round pick. San Jose gets a protected first-round pick that's top 10 protected. If it's, top 10 this year, then it becomes a 2025 first-round draft pick next year. Mikael Granlund, Jan Ruda, and Mike Hoffman. Hoffman's part of the Montreal package. And going to Montreal is a second-round pick from 2025, defenseman Jeff Petrie, goaltender Casey DeSmith, and a prospect. And oh, by the way, Pittsburgh retains 25% on Petrie. Montreal doesn't retain anything on Hoffman or Pitlick, and the San Jose Sharks retain 13% on Karlsson. I know it's a lot to digest. Obviously, the big name coming out of this is Karlsson, but I want to get the initial reaction coming from Pittsburgh. Bill.
I mean, we've been hearing this for weeks that this is going to get done, and Kyle Dubas is going to find a way to do it. I know we had talked before that more than likely this was going to have to be a 3-team trade in order to get it done. So I wasn't shocked there. But I mean, hey, he's 33 years old. He had 101 points last year, 25 goals, 76 assists, played all 82 games. He became the sixth NHL defenseman in history to reach 100 points in a season. So first since Brian Leach. That's, going back a while. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy with it. I mean, he's going to definitely make the power play better. Like I said, he's a legitimate point man. We talked about this before, so I'm happy with it. Yeah.
Nice, solid. I like it. Yeah, no, Pittsburgh gets a good player, good defenseman. Don't expect much defense from Karlsson. He's an offensive guy, but if you pair the right player with him, like they did in Ottawa, kind of what they were doing this year in San Jose, you'll be fine. And he has a nice first stretch pass. I know, John, we had talked about it a lot too on Spitball and Sports here as well, that, Karlsson, it was going to be Carolina or it was going to be Pittsburgh. But once Carolina made those moves that they made, it seemed like Pittsburgh was it.
The front runner,
yeah. There's so many. We're going to have to dissect this one because I'll say this, like, there's so many things. Like, I think Pittsburgh makes a great trade today. I really do. Dubas, good job. He didn't have to give up much because San Jose didn't want to retain much. Right. So I guess he didn't have to do much. It just baffles me because now the pressure goes on to Tristan Jarry, I assume, to be very good. He can't be just okay here. And after we've talked, Bill, about the Penguins, and you as well, Jim, it's odd. Last year they seemed slow and like they were not a team that would be a playoff team this year. Now they get Karlsson. I'm going to tell you what, if I'm Ottawa, Buffalo, Detroit, I guess the Islanders, I got another partner now here to beat out, because it seemed like Pittsburgh was possibly I think Bill, me and you talked about it. We actually had them out of the playoffs, I think, in our last show.
Yeah,
when we were doing our way too early predictions.
we did.
So, boy, this was what a big splash for Dubas, and it makes him a playoff team for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure it does. Yeah, look, no doubt Karlsson's going to help this team. He's going to help them on the power play. He's going to help them move the puck out of the zone better. That was a big issue for the Penguins last year. Defensively, they were old with Matheson, with Petrie. Let's see if Ty Smith gets in there for the Penguins. But up front, look, obviously Friday things really started to pick up once Drew O'Connor got signed by Pittsburgh right before arbitration. That opens the buyout window. But Kyle Dubas, into Toronto, he's not a guy that buys out players. And realistically, yes, the buyout's a great tool, but it hurts you going forward on your cap. So to not use it and get rid of a player, and then there were only a couple of players that really the Penguins could move. Mikael Granlund was one of them. They had to get that contract off the books.
Yeah.
Had to.
Yeah.
And Jeff Petrie was the other one before his no trade clause, modified no trade clause kicked in. Now, also on Friday, it was revealed that Jake Getzel is going to miss 12 weeks because of ankle surgery.
Yeah.
Now, my initial thought is, okay, it's going to be reevaluated in 12 weeks. You're going to add Karlsson. Does this mean he misses the entire year? And if the Penguins are in the playoffs and get in the playoffs, that's when he shows up?
Boy, I hope not. I mean, him and Sid pair up so good together. I mean, geez. I mean, that would just be it would be devastating. One complements the other. Yeah.
I just am still. I said this with you guys weeks ago. I didn't think Pittsburgh should be I mean, I know there comes a point where there was no one left but Pittsburgh, and that's what it was. It was Pittsburgh was the last man standing, and I was starting to feel like it wouldn't happen until later in this, as we moved on to the trade deadline. I just wonder. I wish I could ask him, what is Dubas thinking? Because at this point, does he feel they're going to win? I mean, this is like all or nothing, right? I mean, this is this year. This isn't for anything down the road. This is for now.
No,
so I'm assuming he believes they're going to win now, this year.
Well, they better win this year, or else they ain't winning. Because look, he believes in this team, but this team is still old it's still slow. And Malkin isn't getting better. Sid's still the best one of the best players in the world, no doubt. But the loss of Gessel hurts. Riley Smith is a nice addition, but this team is still old, and they still have goaltending problems. Erik Karlsson is not solving the goaltending problem.
No, he's not. That's what worries me. I mean, Jari, injuries, right? I mean, inconsistent play. Like we've talked about before, 2021, that Islanders series. I mean, you can say what you want to say. He pretty much single-handedly blew that series for them. And I'm not the only one that says that. Pretty much everybody that is an analyst and breaks down everything has said that. Yeah. That's what worries me, it really, that's the one clink in the armor, so to speak. But no, you're spot on, Jim. I mean, they are, I mean, just look at the, toward the end of the regular season, they needed a win against the Chicago Blackhawks. Chicago Blackhawks just come out and just skated circles around them. They just weren't able to keep up. And that loss was just, I couldn't believe they lost that game. I'm like, but
and I guess this is why I've been confused for 3 weeks. I mean, I get confused easy, I know, but this year.
That's because you're a Leafs fan.
Right. No, that's all I got is blue and white disease.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is I just didn't think they'd want to be in this mix. Because they're not going to, maybe Tristan Jarry ends up being something that Dubas can rehabilitate, but God, I just thought it was this was going for it. You don't go for it any more than this, and they went for it.
And Dubas goes to Edmonton and visits him, in the off season. They have a long talk, and Jarry's basically, I don't know what Jarry said to him. Obviously, he said something to him that
right.
Made him, but I mean, the proof's in the pudding, man. I mean, you just, his body of work is, not there, in my opinion.
It's not. You talk to a lot
Yeah.
of people. He's not. That's why I feel, and I've talked to a lot of people, and they'll agree that it was a panic move and they outbid themselves for Tristan Jarry. Nobody else wanted him on the market.
No.
Like nobody was going to pay that on the market for Tristan Jarry, and they outbid themselves for Jarry. And look, I know you can go back to 2016 and 17 and say, oh, well, the makeshift defense and they played defense. Yeah, but they had Marc-Andre Fleury and Matt Murray between the pipes. Like,
right.
And that team was a lot younger, and they had a third line that could score. They had depth scoring. They up and down the lineup, that team was better. I know you have to, defense still wins, but Karlsson don't play D. And he's never going to play D. Like, that's a fact. And Letang's older. This team is still flawed. Yes, now you can say, okay, maybe they're a playoff team this year, and I think they will. They're going to challenge the Rangers now for a top 3 in the Metro. But the Devils and Carolina are still the top 2 teams. And FYI, the Penguins have still struggled against New Jersey speed for years now, even when New Jersey wasn't good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And the hip injury too. I mean, the hip, I mean, that's just piles on, it's just a culmination. I mean, it's just, I agree. I mean, they totally outbid themselves. And for 5 years, I mean, that was the real kicker for me. 5 years. I just.
Well, I'll cheaply plug something if you haven't read it yet. NHLrumors.com doing a quick series here on the free agency signings. I just put out my worst signings from the East. Tristan Jarry's number 1 on the list. He's number 1. Like,
as it should be.
I mean 5 times 5 for what he's shown me, not good enough. Now, again, the core, yes, you can believe in everything, but again, I'll say this. I've said it. We've discussed this before. The Penguins, I would have moved away from Malkin last year. Letang was the guy I was going to keep. Move away from Malkin. Get younger. Get some players in there. Add some depth. If you want to still build around Sid, fine, because he's still not going away. But this team is older.
Yeah, if I was, I agree so much, Jim, with that. Even before when you said it, I agreed with you. I mean, I just thought it just feels like, and Dubas just won't do it. And I can't imagine Hextall and Brian Burke would have done this. They have to be retooling. And instead, it feels like this feels like a team that should win a Stanley Cup this year when you do this. And we know they're not. Mm-hmm. So it's just to get to a wild card spot. So it's very, very, maybe not. Maybe that's a little bit low on them. But still, it's going to be a tough division to crack the top 3. So
I mean, I would put them right now. I would put them ahead of the Rangers, just with the addition of Karlsson. Not to say they're now. If you match up, the goaltending is clearly with the Rangers, but the Rangers are an older team too.
Yeah,
true. If you look at the division, I mean, Columbus is better. Whether we want to think they're going to make the playoffs or not, Columbus is a better team.
Yeah. No, they are a better team. I agree.
It's all on Babcock, man. If he doesn't do any shock and awe over there, everything will be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, what they did, like, and the fact is Hoffman goes to San Jose for the second time via Pittsburgh. But this team, like, okay, it's all well and good that you get a defenseman, and again, he's gonna help this team. I'm not saying he's not. He's a Norris Trophy winner, but there's other areas this team didn't address, and I said it with John, and I probably said it when I was on Puckett. The fact of the matter is Kyle Dubas would have ran it back in Toronto, and the Tristan Jarry signing proves it.
Yeah. Karlsson kind of makes you feel that way too. I mean, this is a guy who's gonna have to be forced somewhere down the road to make a hard choice. I don't know if he can. I don't know what'll happen. He's gonna be forced to. So,
I mean, he made 2 easy plays moving Petrie out to back to Montreal, moving Casey DeSmith out. And I don't know. I think they may regret moving out DeSmith because I think he would have been a good backup this year just because based on his world championships. And again, I know it's world championships and all that stuff. but I think he was starting to find his stride, and I think he's going to challenge Montembeault and Allen up in Montreal.
Well, and he doesn't have the injuries that Jari has. He doesn't have, he hasn't had half of his hip shaved off, yeah, I agree. I thought towards the tail end of the season, he played a lot better, DeSmith. And, yeah, I don't know. That was a kind of a kicker for me. I mean, Granlund, glad to see them out from under that. That was
a dumb trade that was such a bad trade at the deadline.
I almost think that was a Hextall FU to the organization and the fans. Like, no, seriously. I mean, I could see him doing something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I just, and Burke, I don't know what the hell. I still don't know what the hell he did. But yeah, like that Granlund, I think that was just a big FU. Like, oh, you want to chant, fire Hextall? Well, here you go. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We're picking up Mikael Granlund from Nashville, who hasn't done anything in ever.
Yeah. So,
but it's very, to me, like you look at the division, and you even brought it up, the other side of it, because we did the DeBrincat, we've done Tarasenko. Those teams have gotten better.
Yeah.
And Buffalo's gotten better. Buffalo's got question marks. I know everybody wants to put Buffalo in the playoffs this year, but again, I'm still not sold, man. Devin Levi, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, that's your tandem. I'm not sure about that.
Right.
And Pittsburgh, again, with Karlsson, and you look down the middle, right? And you got Crosby, okay, that's great. He's a center. You got Malkin, okay, that's great. You got Lars Eller, okay, great pick. That's a depth move. Same with Achari, but you still got Jeff Carter there. 1 year left. Jeff Carter. I mean,
and he is just,
and then and then you got an injury-prone Rickard Rakell there too.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff Carter's another one I'd like to see them unload. I mean, he's just, I don't know. And that was a whole thing with Hextall too, He played under Hextall in Philly. They were buddy, and it was just
he was there, and they traded for him when he was in LA.
In LA, yeah. Right. So once again, it's thank you, Ron Hextall, But
and again, I don't know what Brian Burke's title was. I mean, I know he's president of hockey operations, and speaking of, did anybody not see Kyle Dubas deciding to take the interim tag off? I mean, we all were calling him the general manager anyway when he opened. So I don't think anybody's surprised by that.
No.
What he did, and I said it on Puckett the other night, what he did was solidify to me that he knew what he was doing on that Monday when he said, I couldn't take it no more. I don't think I want to be a GM anymore. And the only place I'll be is in Toronto. He knew what he was doing when he said, hey guys, I need more money and everything else. And then on Saturday morning after he gets fired, he's in the owner of the Penguins' house. So he had a plan. He knew what he was doing, and good for him.
And he didn't want, and that's what he wanted. He wanted the extra role in Toronto.
Couldn't get it. But he's not going to get it. The weird thing is in Pittsburgh, though, with those guys in Fenway put the handcuffs on Hextall and them to not get rid of Malkin. Yeah. So what makes us think I don't know what makes him change now on him.
And like we discussed, John, on Puckett, he's, Dubas is going to have 1/10 of the pressure that he had in Pittsburgh that he did in Toronto. I mean, let's face it,
right.
Like I said, I think the Steelers are kind of like the buffer for that, it's just kind of, but in Toronto, I mean, you're just under that, you're under the gun, you're in a pressure cooker. And like I said, it's him being with Pittsburgh, he's going to face 1/10 of the pressure that he faced in Toronto. And I don't know.
And I'm just looking over cap friendly right now, and there's a lot of players with a lot of modified, no trade, no move clauses. Jeff Carter's got a 35+ no movement clause. Then on the back end, Karlsson obviously is here. He's not going anywhere. Letang, 35+ no move. Ryan Graves, modified no trade. Marcus Pettersson, modified no trade. He's got 2 years left. But still, I mean, so you add Karlsson and Graves to the defense. Ty Smith's there. Rue Weedle, Pierre Oliver, Joseph, and Pettersson. I mean, that's That's the defense in front of Tristan Jarry and Alex Nedeljkovic. And not to say Nedeljkovic is going to have a bad year, but when he was in Detroit, he didn't look like the guy that was in Carolina.
No, he sure didn't. When he was in Detroit, he was bad.
Yeah, he was flat out bad.
Yeah.
That's why Steve Yzerman had to go get Ville Husso.
Yeah. I mean, he was great in Carolina, but yeah, I don't know what the hell happened to him in Detroit. He was like a different, completely. It was like a 180. So,
well, hopefully he does that 180 the other way, and the Penguins have something there because you know what I mean. That would be what you got to hope for as a Pens fan, is because that's going to be the key, right? I mean, the goaltending is going to be. Oh. Again, man, I want to give them an A for this deal.
It's Penguins. A great trade. Don't get me wrong. It's a great hockey trade.
It is.
But
yeah. There's buts.
Yeah. Right. And we knew they were going to have a third team involved. And San Jose's only picking up $1.5 million of the salary annually.
I think Montreal did a great job today. I mean, I don't know.
I think they did a phenomenal job. They unload Hoffman. They unload Hoffman back to San Jose. By the way, this is the second time Mike Hoffman is a member of the San Jose Sharks. The last time was less than a cup of coffee. Now he's there. He'll probably be there for a while. But the fact that Jeff Petrie goes back to Montreal at
2.5,
pretty much like 2.5, and they didn't retain anything on Pitlick or Hoffman, 2 contracts they wanted to move. At least Hoffman they wanted to move. We'll see how long Petrie's there. I'm hearing the Montreal's probably going to flip him.
Yeah. Sure. And that's good. What a good day. And even DeSmith. I mean, it's a good day for them.
DeSmith is good because now they got 3 goalies because then Allen always gets hurt.
Yeah.
And Primo is there too. So you got Montembeault, you got DeSmith, you got it. So they got a nice crop coming up. Kent Hughes, Jeff Gordon doing things the right way up there. And even San Jose. I mean, look, San Jose is not going to be relevant. You think about the San Jose Sharks, right, for a minute. Think about all those good teams they had, and they never won a Stanley Cup.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Those guys. Yeah. I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, they just. I'm looking at the guy Ruda. I guess they'll probably trade somewhere down the road. Right?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, Ruda's definitely getting traded.
Someone will want him. Yeah. I thought
maybe Hoffman. Maybe Hoffman down the road too.
I thought Montreal had a great day today out of nowhere. Just a good solid day for them.
Well, what makes it a good day is that the fact that they didn't eat on Hoffman or Pitlick, they still have retention space.
Well, and that's probably why they were more than happy to be that third team involved in the deal. They're probably like,
San Jose's going to eat Hoffman and Pitlick. Fine, bye.
Yeah.
And what do you think about San Jose only doing? This Jim, Bill. Do you think they should have retained more? Could they have got? I don't know what more they could have gotten, but obviously it could have been 25%, something. How did you feel?
They wanted to go that high. I don't think they wanted to go that high. They only wanted to go to like 10, 11%. They didn't want to go. They didn't want to go higher than that because that's why they need to get a third team involved. They didn't want to go past that 25% mark. They wanted to get his off and think about it. They have so much dead cap space too with Burns, Karlsson, so many other contracts that they couldn't be eating any more dead cap space. So if they went 25 or more, it was only going to be a 2-team trade. The fact they get a third team in there, they only eat that much. I think that's a good deal. I think it's a good day for them.
Well, I thought when this initial report, came back in beginning of July. I thought they were saying that they were willing to go up to 30%. I could have been mistaken.
Originally, yeah, I think so. Yeah. But I think the fact that if they were getting a third team involved, I think they wanted to eat as less money as possible.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah. You got to find every dollar. Every dollar matters right now.
Yeah.
Like literally every dollar matters. You could see it with this trade. Like Hoffman's gone out of there. Montreal can make a move, to sign somebody long term if they choose to. I mean, it's just very, very interesting.
Hey Jim, and I don't know if Bill, maybe what is Pittsburgh at on cap friendly? Like how far are they under or are they over?
I think they're looks like they might be a little. They're in the red by like 79,000.
Oh, that's it.
So they're just they're just over.
They're just over. Yeah.
By $79,342.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew they were just. I
think once Getzel goes on LTIR, I think they're under.
Yeah.
And then whatever other move they make.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with it. I mean, like I said, he's going to make them better, but it's still kind of, I don't know.
It's odd, man. It's like a bittersweet type of thing. If I'm a Penguins fan, it's just weird.
It is very weird. It's just very weird because the one thing that they didn't address was goaltending, and I think that's the area that is it's still the weakest for them is goaltending.
I agree. I mean,
and that situation that I know Bill and you, Jim, have said to me over and over is the speed of the team. I mean, it's I mean, I know Karlsson will help, but I don't know, man. It's an interesting. This is an interesting trade because, like I said, I want to give Pittsburgh an A, but then I look at what their need. Did you really need to do this? I mean, because now look at it. You're going to have obviously we said Buffalo, Detroit, Ottawa. Let's throw Pittsburgh in there. The Islanders. I mean, there's going to be a bunch of teams fighting for what? Maybe.
Don't be surprised if Columbus is fighting for a while. Don't be surprised if Columbus is fighting for a while. Just because of Babcock, new defense. Like, I just have this feeling Columbus is going to be back where they were before.
Jim, if Babcock has changed, because I don't know how those young guys will deal with him unless he's really done a.
From what he says, he's changed. So.
Yeah, we just go by what he says, and we'll see. Yeah.
We talked about that Thursday, John. I mean, about his, but
he has to change. They would have never hired him if he hasn't changed. They couldn't have. He'll destroy you. This day and age, his player would just be gone. It ain't happening.
No, it ain't happening for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, they added some guys too, Severson, Provorov. I mean, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I was thinking about this, looking at Cap Friendly. I don't know I want to get your thoughts on this, Bill. With Getzel out, do you think Drew O'Connor slots in on a top line with Sid?
You know what? I was thinking that too. I would say yes. I think he's the first guy that would come to mind. To move up there, I would think. I like him. I tell you what, he's. I think he's done a hell of a job. I pretty much knew they were gonna, re-sign him, and he was going to avoid arbitration. I know there was rumors of that, swirling around, but yeah, I mean that's somebody I would, I'm hoping that Gensel, bounces back. I mean, man, that's a blow.
Yeah, and it's weird considering he was playing hockey last week up in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Considering this was a lingering injury. Now, those that hear the audio of this, yes, I'm using air quotes. Lingering injury.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and this was like the first I had heard about it. Like,
right, exactly.
Like, I'm like, I didn't hear about this in the off season, like, or right at the end of the regular season. You didn't hear anything about it. Now all of a sudden, he needs, he had surgery. It's like, what? It's like. So
I'm going to ask you both of this, and you guys can, and maybe I should answer this too, when I'll get your guys' opinion on this. What does this do for Getzel's? Because he's a free agent next year. Like, what does this do for like the contract and everything? Because he's at $6 million now. He's definitely getting a bump, but
I think Sid's going to have a lot to say about that. I think, I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that Sid loves him. I know Sid, him and Sid are like, two peas in a pod, but with this new ownership, how much of that, I mean, when Lemieux and Burke were calling the shots, I'd say he's probably safe. Sid could just go in and say, hey, I don't want you getting rid of this guy. Now, I don't know.
I I think Dubas will do whatever Sid wants. I truly
You
believe.
think he
There's
will?
no. Oh yeah, he did whatever Matthews and those guys wanted, and they don't have half of the
Yeah, it's true.
the pedigree as
He
this
doesn't
guy.
have
This
half
guy's
the
a champion.
hardware.
Well,
Yeah.
what I worry about, not so much Dubas, I worry about FSG.
Well, yeah. I mean, Bill, if they step in, then he'll have to be furious. Because that was his bitch in Toronto. He'd lose his mind.
Because I mean, FSG alienated. Lemieux still owns, a stake in the club, and he didn't go to one home game last year because he apparently he was pissed off. There was a rift between him and FSG. So I don't know. I'd hate to see Gensel go, to be honest with you, but
this injury, man,
it's a blow. I mean, geez,
that's a huge blow to this team
and to his team, to him, the everything as far as
the snake. I mean, I call him Jake the Snake Getzel for a reason. I mean, this dude, ever since he came into the league, this dude's been on fire.
He has been, and Sid's made him better. I mean, they compliment. Like you saw. I mean,
that first playoff he came in.
Yeah,
dude, unbelievable.
I mean, Sid and him are just like, I don't know. It's like a match made in heaven. I mean, really, they one complements the other one. But
and it makes you wonder. Oh, I'm sorry, Bill. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it makes me wonder. Then how would he do somewhere else? Like,
well, yeah,
you know what I mean? Would he even be as productive in another place like he is with
the right center? I think he would be productive.
Well, you know what makes me wonder too? If this was a lingering injury, why did they wait till the beginning of August to have the surgery? Why the hell didn't they do it in June?
Right, exactly.
Like, that's another thing. Like, that kind of irks me because, hey, we're a month and a half away from freaking
training camp. Yeah.
Like I mean, and you're now you're saying, oh, he's going to be out 12 weeks or 12
and
weeks.
And then we have to reevaluate
him. Yeah, we got to like, come on, why didn't you do this in June if it was a lingering injury?
Or at the end of the season, at least.
Right.
If this was supposed to be an injury, what happened to the end of the year physical?
Right.
Exactly. Like, I don't know. That it's strange to me.
Or if the ankle was that much of a problem, the club maybe should have been like, hey, buddy, I know you like playing in this beauty league in Minnesota. And maybe this year we're rehabbing you and you're staying home and you're going to focus on the National Hockey League this year.
Well, yeah. And maybe
there's got to be more to the story. I mean, there would have to be.
It up more up there.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I mean, when I hear lingering injury, I'm like, okay, so this started like last year. This, right?
Yeah.
So, like you said, Jim, you get the end of the year physical, normally they catch those things, especially something with the lower body. I mean, that's, and why are you waiting to have surgery in the beginning of August, a month and a half from camp?
This might be where old Kyle Dubas is happy not to be in Toronto because they would be going crazy. The media.
They'd be absolutely going crazy right now.
Yeah.
I'd be crazy in this box.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. But I mean, look, we kind of beat the Pittsburgh horse here. Another big news here. Matt Dumba finally signs a 1-year deal, $4 million with Arizona. He joins Jason Zucker, who's over there, another Penguin.
Yeah.
Former teammates in Minnesota. But John put this out earlier, and I've been saying this pretty much all off season. The salary cap's a big winner. A couple of other guys I talk with, this is what we're going to see come the draft. Guys betting on themselves, but guys taking 1-year deals and probably getting moved at the deadline. And Dumba's getting moved at the deadline. Probably Zucker too. There'll be a lot of guys on these 1-year deals because this is exactly what it was like with Klingberg last year when he signed in Anaheim. Nice $4 million paycheck. That's great. Come the trade deadline, it's going to be half that, if not 3/4 of it for a team to pick him up. And he's going to be able to – this is what he had to do because he was getting exposed defensively in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Bill.
No, he was getting exposed defensively in Minnesota. I'm being in northwestern Wisconsin. I'm in the Bally's viewing area for the Wild. But yeah, he was definitely exposed. So
it's a perfect thing, like you say, Jim. he gets to go out to Arizona and he'll be on a contender somewhere here at the trade deadline. But no, I guess it's perfect. I'd do it too.
No pressure for him in Arizona either. There's no pressure.
Work on his game. That's all.
Work on his game. Get back into good graces with a contender. Because if he, I've been saying this, you're getting to the point now where a lot of these free agents are getting to a point where it's PTO time because there's not a lot of salary cap space. Like Dumba was going to have to go. Some of these guys might have to go to these non-contending teams and get traded at the deadline.
Yeah, like my guy Tatar. He should
be somewhere, but it could be PTO time.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's a guy I actually thought might actually fit well in Pittsburgh, but they just don't have the room for him.
Yeah, well, not now, that's for sure.
Not now, for sure.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But
no, he'll what's he, 34, 35 years old?
Who?
Tatar?
Yeah. He's up there.
Man, I would love to have he'll make someone happy. I mean, I could see. I just always wonder when I sit here in Buffalo. It makes me wonder because they still have money to spend and things to do, and I'm waiting for them to bring veterans in. I think he could be helpful to them as well, but they're kind of doing nothing. So, I
mean, look, Dumba, he's not the player that he used to be, but he can still move the puck. But again, he got exposed defensively. But if he goes on the right contending team, and I'm going to throw this out here. We don't really do way too early predictions, but I'm going to piggyback off this. I would not be surprised if a team like Tampa Bay trades for him at the deadline. I'm going to throw that out right now. I have no information, but I'm just saying that could be a team that could make it work.
I think.
Or Toronto, somebody like that.
Those are the two. But in Toronto, it's so hard, as you guys know, and I listen to all of it. You guys listen. They're in on everything and everybody, so it's kind of hard to ever know truth from fiction.
Yeah, exactly.
But it would seem to make sense if they were to be involved in that. But
right, exactly.
This whole thing today has been what a day in my eyes. The Cap wins. The Penguins did something that was so aggressive, but yet we're all three of us sitting here. I can't say guarantee. Would you guarantee they make the playoffs next year?
No.
No, I don't guarantee they're going to make the playoffs. I think they'll be like Boston. They're going to be battling for a wild card spot. It's the same question I had last year with Boston, Washington, and Pittsburgh. Who's missing? Who's taking a step back? Pittsburgh's better. Yes, they're better. Of course, their power play. Look, Karlsson makes that power play much better, but they still got to execute and finish because their power play looked great. They moved the puck, all this. They just could never hit the net or score or whatever. Let's see if Karlsson changes that. But they're still
he has potential changing.
Right. But they're still in that group of teams that are with Islanders, there's Islanders, Rangers, there's Washington, there's Florida still. You got Detroit, Buffalo, Ottawa. I mean,
it's
Boston.
It's hard for me to believe that the Rangers or the Bruins will miss the playoffs this year. I would be shocked. The Rangers would level. I just got a feeling they'll make it one way or another.
I've got some guys saying they're going to miss.
Oh, Jesus. I could be. Wow.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they missed.
Me too. I'd be really surprised. I mean, anything is possible. But
you look at the roster construction of that team. It's an older team, man. And Lafreniere is yet to be signed.
That's true. Yeah. The goal time. I mean, maybe the Islanders can't score though, but that's why
the Islanders can't score. Look, you cannot continuously play defensive hockey for 82 games and expect to be in the playoffs without scoring a goal. You can't average 2 goals a game and expect to win. I'm sorry, you just can't do it.
Like I said off the top, I feel like this Karlsson deal it really changes some things in that bottom half for the arms race with Ottawa, Detroit, and Buffalo. Now it kind of feels like, I could see all three of them not making it. It wouldn't shock me.
I think one gets in. I think one's going to get in. If I'm picking one team that gets in, unless they have a horrendous start, which they've had horrendous starts for the last 2 years, and it goes on with injuries, and Pittsburgh's been one of the most injury-ridden teams in the league over the last 5 years. and it's not changing this year so far with Getzel.
Right.
But if they get off to a better start, I'm putting Ottawa in just because Tarasenko matters. You get second year Giroux. Josh Norris is healthy. Their team is better defensively. Korpisalo's there. They're going to get a stop.
Yeah.
I would just put the Senators in there.
I remember, John. I said that. That was my wild card. I said Ottawa.
Well,
Again, I'm not sold on Buffalo just because of goaltending. They
Yeah.
have the offense. Defensively, they're better. But
Yeah.
again, 2 rookie goaltenders.
The funny thing is when we did our little thing on Thursday, this was before Karlsson. And you didn't have Pittsburgh in the playoffs. I had them barely maybe making it as the last wild card.
Yeah.
And that's why this is like, and this is so early, everything else is going to happen. But I mean, you just wonder, like, what the hell? Because I don't see, Florida's not going to disappear. Why would they? I mean, I don't see why that team is not going to be a playoff team this year. So it's going to be an uphill battle. It should be good.
Okay, so real quick, couple things before we get out of here. So we're talking about these standings. We're talking about all this stuff, right? And you look at it. Obviously, we're going to put New Jersey, Carolina in the Metro.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting Toronto in the Atlantic. Are we putting Tampa in?
I think so.
I mean, when we did our show Thursday, I picked Tampa over Florida.
All right, so you have 4 teams. That leaves one guaranteed spot in each division plus the wild cards. So that means you have 4 spots for Detroit, Buffalo, Ottawa, Pittsburgh, Washington, Boston, and the Islanders and the Rangers. So
and
8
Florida.
teams are in Florida. So 10 teams are battling for 4 spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to not see Boston getting in. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, I know what Bergeron, I understand, but I think Marchand takes.
I think that's a team that try to makes a move at the deadline when when a team will be willing to retain more for number 1 center. I think they're done. The fact that Jeremy Swayman is under 3.5 because Samsonov set the market at 3.55, and good for him for getting that on a 1-year deal. But it allowed Gustafsson in Minnesota to get 3.75, and then that was really the market setter for Swayman and for Gustafsson. And now Swayman's going to be a free agent again next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think Zacha's going to have a better season than a lot of people think he's going to as the number 1. And I think they'll make a move later on. I think this team is done because obviously they're going to have the bad news this week that Krejci's going to retire too. So he's not coming back. So that's their 2 top centers are gone. But don't be surprised Morgan Geekie has a good year in Boston.
Yeah. Well, and Boston's old too. I mean, losing Bergeron and but they're what last year? I mean, they were second oldest, right? I think.
Right. I mean, they still have a good defense. They still have the same goaltending. But the loss of Taylor Hall up front is tough.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna have to find. I mean, you have DeBrusk, you have Marchand, you have Pasternak. DeBrusk is a free agent. Like, is he going to get moved? Are they going to re-sign him? Like, there's a lot of questions.
They got younger quick, though, when you take Bergeron, Krejci, and Hall out of there. I mean, I don't know. The goaltending, the whole thing, I just cannot imagine they're not sitting at number 3 in the East when this is all said and done. In the Atlantic, I'm sorry. I'd be surprised if they're in a while, that they're not the 3rd. If you go Toronto, Tampa, Boston, and I just don't see Florida missing. I don't know unless they're so banged up that they
that's
can't
the
recover.
thing. Their start, the start's going to be key for Florida. They got to be able to survive that start without Montour, without Ekblad. Is Kachuk going to be 100%? Broken sternum. I mean,
right? Yeah, that's true. That could be it. The death shot right there in the beginning. First 20 games. Yeah.
Well, and we were talking coaches on the hot seat, and I even said that. I said if Florida gets off to a rocky start, I said by December Maurice could be on the hot seat.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. If they didn't have No injuries, take the injuries out of it. Everybody's healthy and they have a slow start. Yes, I could see it.
Yeah.
Injuries coming off a long season, maybe not.
Right.
But if they get off to a slow start like they did last year, the luck that they had last year to get in ain't going to be there this year.
Exactly. Yeah.
If one guy on that seat real fast is Sheldon Keefe, because last year they started out so poorly out west where they won 1 out of 7, whatever the heck it was terrible. That's when he called them losers and he said they have no heart. Then he apologized the next day.
Which he never done, by the way.
No. Right.
But he should have never done that. He should have never backtracked from it because he
never
was right.
Apologized.
We said that on Puckett. We said he should have never apologized. He should have owned it and rolled with it.
Yeah, and he's going to get fired, I think, this year. If that, I would see it in the first 10 games. Why not? That's like the guy in Pittsburgh, Sullivan. Why wouldn't he? Those two guys got to be really. It's got to be super hot for them.
Right. Yeah.
The seats.
I think Sullivan's safe for now, but if they miss the playoffs again,
he still has 1 more year on his contract. But I think if they miss the playoffs again, I think he's.
Remember, John Cooper was on the hot seat before they won those 2 Stanley Cups. So
yeah, he was.
It went to 3 finals. So
right. Well, it's a what have you done for me lately league. We know that it's out of all the major North American sports, I think they're the most for coaching turnover. Them and the NBA. But what about another guy I think's on the hot seat? What about Craig Berube in St. Louis? I think
100% agree he's on the hot seat.
Yeah, I think he's on the hot seat. That was we kind of ranked on Thursday, and that was my number 1 guy. I said he's got to, he's definitely going to be on the hot seat. They don't come out the gate firing on all cylinders.
I think Peter DeBoer could be. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, if
DeBoer, he's always on a hot seat in my opinion. He takes a team so far and then they can't get over the hump.
Well,
I even thought of Lindy Ruff. What if they slow down? They're slow.
Or
but he's getting he's got a new contract apparently.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Ashcroft
to say sorry
in Edmonton.
Jay Woodcroft,
Or Woodcroft. Yeah. I mean, Woodcroft. I think he's another guy.
He gets a pass all the time, especially in the Canadian media. They don't ever get. I don't understand why not.
I don't either.
But he's always safe.
Well, Edmonton in general gets a.
They do.
Pass. We talked about that on Thursday, John. I mean, it blows my mind. So
they do. I agree.
It's crazy. I mean, look. The season's right around the corner. Got big news here on a Sunday. Gentlemen, thank you so much for impromptu emergency podcast here, doing it all for Let's Talk Pucks, Puckett, Spitball and Sports, Final Word on Hockey. Everybody, Bill, thank you coming in. Give us a Pittsburgh perspective. John, always a pleasure, my man. Always fun doing it. I know how much you guys love talking hockey.
Yes, thanks for asking us, man. I'm so happy.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jim.
Absolutely, guys. Hey, guys, check this out. See the replays always. We'll be sharing it. Guys, this has been Let's Talk Pucks, collaboration with the boys from Puckett, Spitball and Sports, and the Final Word on Hockey. Guys, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. It was a busy one, and thanks for being along for the recap. Take care, everybody.